Hi, welcome back to Heretic Owl Tarot. My name is Liz, your guide on this journey on this channel. I want to say, first of all, thank you so much for such a positive response to the human design profile videos. I know, obviously, if this is your first time, welcome. But the last time I put out videos, I said that I was going to be focusing more on the human design profile readings versus doing both those and the zodiac sign readings. And I also said that was just the guidance that I received, basically. So I feel like, it's following my strategy and authority, following that feeling. So, that's what we do, even if it doesn't make sense to us. So there is a link in the description below if you don't know your human design profile. Even if you don't know anything about human design, this isn't necessarily to teach you about human design or, kind of be so advanced that you don't get it. This is more just message by profile because it's just an added element, a different way of receiving messages outside of your sun, moon, rising, right? So it is still about the tarot message. And of course, I do generally give some sort of blurb about each profile before we begin. So with that being said, we're using the Oracle of Destiny and the Muse tarot today. I was kind of like, for a couple days, I was just kind of like whining to myself because I haven't bought any new decks and I can't even tell you how long. But then I was reminded that I had bought this deck and another one these were probably the last, this deck and the other one is probably the last decks that I bought. And I just kind of put them on a desk out of the way and totally forgot about them. So I was glad that it, kind of presented itself like, hello, I'm here, I'm new. So we're going to use it and the Muse. What was that? The World? Oh, that was the Wheel. Interesting, because I've seen that a lot lately. Anyway, let's get into it. Great. So, if you're here, you would be a 3/6 or a martyr role model. And months ago, I found on Facebook somewhere the 12 archetypal defense mechanisms of the Not Self series by each profile. Like, we usually talk about the positive aspects and attributes of each profile, but we don't usually talk about how those things, like how it comes through in the not self or the shadow, or when you're not being yourself, basically. Or and so, like I said, I found these on Facebook, and I wish I could credit the creator, but their name isn't on it, so I don't know. And I think I found these back in July, so there's no way I'm going to find them now. So if I do, of course, though, I will credit them in the description. So it says 3/6, they are ashamed of feeling disconnected. They try to fix this by being a perfect role model, only to discover that they can't be, which makes them feel even more ashamed. Their defense strategy is to keep on keeping on in the hope that things will get better, whilst pretending all along that nothing is wrong. Interesting, right? So yeah, how does that sound for you? Because no doubt, and I don't have a sixth line, so you tell me, but no doubt, like, because that sixth line has the three tiered, or like the three different phases in life, from birth to 30, then like 30 to 50-ish, and then 50-ish on, right? But no doubt, like at some point in your life you discovered maybe, or even just had like an inkling or like a feeling that you do have the potential to be a role model for other people. Maybe you didn't know what that was or what it is or whatever. And maybe human design has kind of helped you get, like with vocabulary for that. Because I know human design has done that a lot for me. Just, able to put words to feelings or, experiences, even like validation, right? So that's just kind of the feeling that I'm getting. Like, I just wonder if you knew that you kind of had this potential, right? But then at the time, like maybe you were in that first phase of, because in that first phase, a 6 line acts as a 3rd line. So for the first 30 years, you're a 3-3, which I'm sure can just be chaotic because it's a lot of trial and error. It's a lot of mistakes. It's a lot of figuring out what doesn't work. And if you, depending on your own conditioning, the people around you, and how you're made to feel about those experiences, then it can, I can imagine that it would create this perfectionist and, like I said, like just pretending all along that nothing is wrong type of thing. So yeah, let me know if that resonates at all. And we have the Milky Way. Love this. We have all these planets up here. I wonder if there's like some transits coming up for you that are going to be major, I know we have an eclipse coming up on the 14th. We just had a full moon in Aries 2 days ago. So maybe you did kind of some moon magic. Maybe, depending on where Aries is for you, maybe you just kind of recognized some things in that area, in those areas. How many cards is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, perfect. That's exactly the number of cards that we need. So we have the Sun, we have the 10 of Pentacles, we have the Knight of Pentacles, 8 of Wands, 3 of Wands, 9 of Swords. And then we have the Muse of Materials, or the King of Pentacles, at the bottom of the deck. Very interesting. Let me make sure everything is in frame. Okay, we are going to read from the book on this card. All of this looks good. Even the 9 of Swords. But we'll get there. So, aspect of the hand, because all of these cards, which I didn't even really realize, even though there's a hand on the front of the box, but it attributes each card to an aspect of the hand, like for palm readings, so, which is kind of cool. And this says, this is a rather rare line, sometimes composed of several parallel dashes that begin and end on the Mount of Luna. It is also called the Via Lascivia. I probably butchered that. It is a sign of great openness to the sensations of and relationship with our bodies. It represents great physical dynamicism and a strong inclination to sensory pleasures. Vitality and health emanate from this line. In extreme cases, and it can indicate the feeling of being too sensitive for this world. In this case, it denotes a tendency towards mysticism and strong gifts for the occult. And it's right here. If you can, hopefully I can't see the actual screen, but it's this section, like the meaty section of your hand. And then divinatory meaning, sometimes we become afraid of what we have inside, a tendency towards vices, for example, or the feeling of being hypersensitive towards an increasingly aggressive, polluted world. This fear should not be denied. We can embrace it and transform it, realizing that fragility is a strength, capable of showing us hidden aspects of reality. I think that goes so well too with even The not self that we were talking about at the beginning, because it's like trying to control outcomes, which turns into perfectionism, which can turn into like being hypersensitive to like stressors or things not going well. Very interesting. But like I said, I mean, all of these cards, for the most part, are very positive. It might just be, again, the slowness or how things are unfolding, which is causing you stress. So let's just start at the beginning. So we start with the sun, which is probably the best card to start with. The sun is everything good. It's joy, happiness, bliss. It's also like life force energy because, we need the sun in order to even exist, right? There's like a rebirth and like rejuvenation type of vibe from it too, like just kind of soaking in the energy of the sun, maybe needing some vitamin D. I always see this as a message for like getting outside if that's accessible to you. Like, in the northern hemisphere, we're still in fall. So it's at least, nice enough. But, seasons are changing too everywhere. But, it might just be a message to get outside and let the sun, kind of touch your skin even. And then it's paired with the 8 of Wands, which is also fire. And wands have to do with action, the motivation behind the actions that we take. How do we communicate the actions that we're going to take? It's also creativity, passion. We can even see the sun in this card, actually, which is really interesting. How that would even kind of turn up that way. I also love this because all of these cards came out at the same time, right? And and just for these two to be paired together, this is why I love tarot. Like, anyway, I'm getting lost in my own thoughts. So, creativity, passion, right? Like, what actions are you taking towards your creativity? What actions are you taking towards your passions? What's the motivation behind those things, and how are you communicating those things? The 8 of Wands is very fast moving. It could be communication coming in. It could be you taking action again towards your passions and your desires. There's also this kind of dedicated, like determination in their walk here too. This could even just be like choosing a direction. Either way, though, there is a focus kind of energy to it. Interestingly, like, speaking of focus, like, as I was talking about that, I realized, because I watered this plant right before I started the video, and I realized that, like, there was water coming out of the bottom, so I, like, kind of got distracted. I don't even know if distracted is the right word, but it was just like, I have to clean up this water right now type of thing. It would have been fine to wait. It wasn't really moving. It wasn't moving towards the cards or anything like that, to where I would have to be concerned about it. But it's like taking action. And even, for me, I'm a manifesting generator. So, I'm meant to respond. I have to wait to respond. This could even just be like a really good segue into strategy and authority, because I saw that I responded, right? Like that's exactly what our strategy and authority is there for. Not necessarily just to clean up water from plants, but your strategy and authority is there to help you enter into the correct quote unquote experiences for you And then your profile is how you interact with the people and the energies of those experiences. So again, it might just be a really good reminder about listening to your strategy and authority as far as whatever the situation is for you, or even starting something, or like where to focus your energy, your attention, your time on. And then we have the 10 of Pentacles up there. I kind of love how these cards up here, they all kind of have this similarity between, this almost kind of looks like a mandala in a certain capacity, or even, like when you look through a, what are those called? Kaleidoscope? It's kind of how that feels. And then we have the roses that have just the same round, kind of quality to them. And then we have this succulent over here, but they're all different, but they all kind of carry the same shape. Even down here, we have the sun. We have, I don't know if this is supposed to be the moon. It's red. It could be Mars. We even have this circle or halo looking around their head. It's just interesting, because I'm just kind of getting this thing about like the interconnectedness of literally everything, right? But the 10 of Pentacles having to do with our money, how we get it, how we save it, how we spend it. It's our time. What are we investing our time in? How are we spending our physical time? And even our physical body. Where are we physically showing up in our lives, right? And 10s are completion. It's reaching the pinnacle of something. The 10 of Pentacles it's success. It's community. Also, the 10s generally do represent community, or it at least involves like other people. It can be family, chosen, or biological. It's also like generational wealth and legacy, because even in this card, we can see this tree that these 10 roses are on, and then there's these people around it, which definitely does kind of feel like role model-y to me, And, like role model doesn't necessarily mean that like you're going to be standing on the stage in front of people, or, I'm also kind of getting like big brother, big sister kind of vibe to it, but it's more so like people recognize, once you go through your phases, because, the first phase again is like, it's a ton of trial and error, a ton of figuring out what works, what doesn't work. The second stage, you still don't really get away from the trial and error with the third line, since you're a 3-6, but that sixth line does turn into the role model line, and that's where you start unpacking a lot of that baggage. That's where you start unpacking your, conditioning and trauma, if you will, and figuring out what stays, what goes, right? Who are you? Who do you want to be, right? And how do you want to, like, how can you express yourself and live your life authentically to you? Because, when you do that, when you discover your authenticity, when you live in that, then you become that role model for other people, because other people are like, oh, wow, like you are living your life authentic to you, which gives me permission to figure out what is authentic to me, because like I wouldn't have even thought that something like that was possible, or something that you're doing is possible, right? So this, 10 of Pentacles, it can be kind of discovering that. And with it being a 10, regardless of where you are in your 6th line journey, there might just be some lesson that, like the lesson has been learned. And it's paired with the 3 of Wands. The 3 of Wands is about like actually starting to take action towards something. Like the Ace of Wands is that spark, right? The Two of Wands is like, okay, now that that spark has shown up, like, what do I do with it? It's planning for the future. It's kind of what options are available to me. What can I do with this? And then the Three of Wands, you start actually doing. And I feel like what's interesting is, for one, just kind of the similarities between these two cards, but also, the dominoes are starting to fall over here, which tells me like things are starting to move forward here. And even, we can see these black and white stripes. There's the black and white stripes over here too. So again, even the fact that these two cards ended up together like this, I feel has a meaning too, because whatever this determination is here, this focus, it is setting something in motion over here. The dominoes are starting to fall, which again tells me that something is falling into place here. We even, it kind of looks like a doorway in here, but it's not necessarily like being taken to a different world, but it is almost like this passageway, like having to walk through a door. Doors also to me feel like opportunity. So even these pairings here, like maybe there is an opportunity or something that you're taking action towards that is going to be hugely successful for you. Maybe even, kind of has that legacy aspect to it. And then the Knight of Pentacles, even, we have the Rose here, which, kind of connects it back to the Ten of Pentacles. And the rose sash here around this horse's neck. The Knight of Pentacles is generally like the slowest moving knight in the whole deck. This one doesn't look like they're moving very slow though, which is kind of interesting. I do feel like the fact that the roses are on this sash instead of in this tree, like you could be getting help from family, or again, family can be biological or chosen. You could be getting help from the community in some aspect. Maybe they're even just, like the support of, because, these people are standing around this tree. It's not like they're necessarily holding it up or anything, but, and they're actually, that's weird. I don't think I'm going to be able to get this to focus enough. I'm going to try, but all of these people, like from here to here, are looking, like if you were looking at this card, they're looking at you, which is kind of weird. I'm not going to lie, it kind of gave me the heebie-jeebies for a second. Like, that was kind of creepy. I just noticed that. I can't even tell you how many times I've seen this card, and I just noticed that. But, like I said, like it could just be like support from the community. But whatever it is, though, with it being the Ten of Pentacles, it is going to help you either in your career or investments, or, it's going to have something to do with your money. It's going to have something to do with your time. It could even be your health too. Like it could even be a whole healthcare team. Because this whole reading could be if you do have something going on physically with your body, like in your health, and you are trying to get that figured out for you, this would be positive for that. Like the answers are going to be discovered that you've been searching for. Even, the Milky Way card talking about being hypersensitive, like there might just be something that you are hypersensitive to that you're going to discover that you're going to need to limit in some capacity. Maybe even the answer comes from a community in some aspect. I don't know, maybe you read it on Reddit somewhere or something. Like for a while, I was doing psyllium husk because I was trying to get more fiber in my diet, but then I would like wind up with terrible migraines, which I'm not a stranger to migraines. I used to get migraines pretty frequently, but I haven't gotten migraines in a couple years. So for them to show up again, I was like, what the hell? And I think I typed in, well, I also discovered, like, I was like, okay, what's changed? And the only thing that had really changed was that I was taking psyllium husk. So I typed in psyllium husk and migraine and Reddit, and sure as shit, somebody on Reddit posted something about getting migraines from psyllium husk. And it's something about like an enzyme, or I don't know, something that's in there, the fiber, I don't know, that creates inflammation, which causes migraines. So I stopped taking it and I stopped getting migraines. So, you know, but I discovered that because somebody in a community posted about it, and thank God they did, you know. Anyway, we were talking about the Knight of Pentacles. So traditionally, the Knight of Pentacles is slow moving. It's the slowest moving knight in the deck. And that is also because, you know, the Pentacles talk about the physical 3D where we exist. And time is different in the 3D than it is in, you know, say the 5D or anywhere else. Right? Any other dimension, probably. Any other planet, really. Speaking of, since we have the Milky Way over here. And so there's also like a dedication and commitment that goes into the Knight of Pentacles, because it is going to unfold, but it's going to unfold kind of slowly. And, you know, sometimes we start to lose patience and hope because we're like, oh God, you know, we're just not seeing the fruits of our labor as fast as we want to. But like I said, this knight is not moving slow. You know, this horse is galloping. That's not really like slow. So, you know, maybe there has been something that has been moving slow for you. And maybe whatever this is over here is causing it to pick up its pace a little bit. And even it paired with the 9 of Swords. What's so interesting with this specific 9 of Swords is that traditionally the 9 of Swords is losing sleep. You know, there's 9 swords on the wall. The person is sitting up in bed. Their hand is in their, or their head is in their hands, you know, looking pretty stressed, pretty anxious. But in this card, this one is sleeping like a baby down here. This one seems to be like holding the veil together here, because it, you know, it kind of looks like, I don't know if, again, if you're going to be able to see this, but there's these little dots down here. It feels like a beaded curtain type of thing. Even this V up here, like I said, it just feels like holding the veil together, but it feels peaceful, which is so interesting because both of these cards in this deck are not giving like the traditional meaning of the card, which I love, because also it's like this is a message that we needed, right? Because even with the 9 of Swords, it generally does talk about, you know, like being kind of bombarded by fears and anxiety and potentially losing sleep over those things. But this card is kind of talking about the opposite. This is saying that, you know, because of this situation, maybe because of the Knight of Materials is starting to move faster, or whatever this thing is, because it is starting to move quick, you are able to get better restful sleep. Or, you know, swords have to do with our mind, our thoughts, perception, it's truth and honesty. Ego also, because that's generally where we hear our ego is in our minds. And our ego is created by the experiences or the stories that we attach to experiences and feelings, right? Whether it's true or not, and whether it's our story or not. So 9s are also individual completion. So there is this sense of, you know, with things starting to move forward, even if they are just a skosh more, I almost said more faster, even if it's just like a skosh faster, like you're just starting to recognize things moving quicker, it's almost kind of giving you this peace of mind here. Even if not fully, but there is some sort of resolution here in your mind. where you can lay something to rest that maybe you've been stressing over, for some time. And then we have the King of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. I love all these pentacles that are out here, and I also love that all of them have been a progression of. There's more roses, it's all lush in here. She's, walking over this bridge to this new world, or, it definitely looks different because this looks a bit foresty in here, and this looks a little bit more kind of desert. King of Pentacles is the highest expression of the suit, though, right? So it does talk about success. It does talk about having enough and then some. It's having control over your time, over your finances, over your health, right? We have the Two of Cups after that, making the right connections, emotionally being able to, share with other people because your cup is full. It was full with the Ace of Cups. Then we move on to the Two of Cups. Everybody, the other party has a full cup themselves. This doesn't have to be romantic. It can be, of course, it doesn't have to be. But this, again, right, it's about having enough to where it's almost like you can be like involved again, is the feeling that I'm getting. We have the Justice card, things, the scales balancing, fairness, karma. We have the Magician. We have the Hanged Man. We have the Ten of Cups. So definitely, lots of good stuff here. Lots of good stuff happening here. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for allowing me to read your cards. I will talk to you soon. Bye.